Welcome to Distress to Joyful, Bailey's Way. I'm your host, Bailey Raber, here to enlighten you and the rest of the world about one of the most misunderstood mental health disorders out there, bipolar disorder. In each episode, we'll learn more about my personal journey with bipolar 2 disorder, how I've struggled with it, and how I've learned to overcome those struggles. Together, we'll laugh, we'll cry, and most importantly, we'll have fun. You'll leave each episode feeling hopeful and stocked full of useful information on how you can better yourself and the world around you. Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode. I'm so excited to be here. So before we jump into today's episode, a couple of things. So as for announcements, I really don't have much. So I am going to work on getting you guys 2 new episodes a month. I am going to try to make it every other week. I'm going to do my best. Obviously, it has been 3 weeks since the last one, so whoopsies, but twice a month. So count on twice a month. That is my new goal moving forward. Mondays is going to be the new episode release day. I have always done that. I love sticking with Mondays. I think it's great to start the week with something fresh and something that is valuable, especially towards our mental health, because Mondays will make or break a week. I don't know about you, but when I have a shitty Monday, I tend to have a shitty rest of the week. So I'm trying to bring you guys some positivity, so maybe I can help to uplift your Monday and just keep the good, positive spirits going all week long. So I am still job hunting here in New York City. So in the meantime, I have been doing Rover. If you guys don't know what Rover is, it is an app where you can, hire someone to walk your dog or dog sit or even take your dog into their home and board them while you're on vacation. So we've used it in the past for Duke. We've used sitters on Rover to, take care of him while we had to go out of town. But now I'm doing that to make money while I am currently job searching. So guys, I'm not telling you guys this because I want you to go rush out and find my Rover, which would be impossible. I'm telling you this because I'm giving you just a little bit of inspiration and ideas, because when it comes to job searching, I know that can be really tough, right? I don't like that I don't have a job right now. So I'm instead finding other ways to bring in income. Sure, this isn't as much income as a full-time job would be, but hey, it's doing something. It's bringing in money. I enjoy it. I have a dog myself, so this is something that I do truly enjoy. And it's also on my own terms. So people send requests to me. It's like Airbnb. People just send me a request. I say yes or no. And I can review their dog and look at the size of the dog, all the things before I say yes or no. It's pretty cool. But all of this is to say is that, get creative when it comes to getting income. You guys, don't be afraid to, put yourself out there and get to work. So that is something I've always done and been known for. I haven't really talked about it much on this podcast at all, now that I think about it. Maybe I should do an episode. But yeah, so I'm just throwing that out there. That's what I'm doing in the meantime. So it's fun. I'm actually going to be editing this episode later on while I am dog sitting this afternoon. And then, before we get into today's episode, I do want to throw out that if you tuned in last week, I said that this week we would be focusing on friendship. And then I went back and realized that in last season, season 5, I actually touched on friendship. And that was only a few episodes ago. So I've decided to put a pause on that topic. I'm going to wait because I do want to make a few more friends here in New York City, which I have already done, which is so fun and so just nice and I can't even tell you. But when I talk about friendship, I do want to talk more about not just what it's like to, lose friendships, but also the journey to creating more friendships, because a door closes, another one opens. I'm a firm believer in that. So I want to wait. I want to get more experience. I want to get some more data. I just finished reading The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. If you have not listened to that book or read the book, I have a link in the show notes. You need to listen or read it. I listened on audiobook. Fabulous book. So many helpful tips in it. So much goodness. So a lot of that is actually going to be in the episode about friendship later on. So instead, today, our topic is going to be bipolar disorder and exercise, how daily movement supports mood and stability. And before I get into this episode, I do want to let you guys know that this is something I'm going to not only speak from my own experience, but also from data. So I've done research and I've got both of those aspects for you. I'm super excited. But before I jump into it, I do want to mention a few of the sources for today's episode. So that's going to be an article titled The Mental Health Benefits of Physical Exercise from verywellmind.com. Exercise in Bipolar Patients, a systematic review, which is found on sciencedirect.com. An article found on the National Library of Medicine website titled Physical Exercise for Treatment of Mood Disorders, a critical review. And the rest of these links will be found in the show notes. Bipolar disorder. We know what this is. This is a huge topic that we currently discuss, but a long story short, especially for any of you who are new to tuning into this podcast, bipolar disorder is a mood disorder that is defined by highs and lows. So when we think of highs and lows, we think of depression, which is the lows, and then the highs would be either manic episodes or hypomanic episode. So I'm not going to go too much into detail on bipolar disorder for this episode. However, I do have a previous episode that I'm going to link in today's show notes that will give a better explanation from the past. I think it's from season 1, actually. So it's a pretty old episode, so forgive any of the audio quality, I guess I should say. I have gotten so much better since then, but if you want to go back and listen, highly recommend. So for me with bipolar 2 disorder, I don't have full-on manic episodes. I have hypomanic episodes, which are categorized by feeling mania, but not to the full extent. And so I've never had like an episode where I've had to be hospitalized, and I'm very grateful for that. I can't even imagine what that must be like for those who do have bipolar 1 disorder and end up hospitalized because of manic episodes. So now that we've defined that a little bit, let's talk about why daily exercise might matter for mood, stability, quality of life, and just overall physical health for those of us with bipolar disorder. So why exercise? I'm actually really excited to do this episode with you guys. So first, let's talk about mood symptoms. So exercise can help reduce depressive symptoms in bipolar disorder, and some studies even show that structured physical activity helps bipolar depression to decrease. Now, for me specifically, I can definitely tell you that exercise has definitely improved my overall mood and 1000% has helped decrease my depression. So let me give you some story time because I know that this is everyone's favorite. Well, at least it's mine. So back in 2016, 2016, I was not taking care of myself well at all. I was almost 200 pounds, so I was extremely overweight for my short height of 5'3". I was eating garbage. I literally was eating fast food on a daily basis. I was eating things from boxes, the freezer, lots of goldfish. I had a goldfish phase back then. Just crap. Frozen mac and cheese, my number one go-to, like just garbage is what I was eating. I was not exercising at all. And I was going through this weird like situationship with this guy at the time. And he ended up cutting it off, and it put me in a really depressive episode. It was dark, you guys. It was one of the darkest ones I can remember as an adult. One of them, not the top, but like it was definitely one of the worst depressive episodes I went through, and it lasted for a couple of months. So I remember I was a server at a restaurant back then, and on the days when I wasn't in the restaurant working, I literally would just stay home. I would keep the blinds closed in the room. I would stay in the dark and just binge watch Netflix on my iPad. And occasionally I would get up to go pee. When I would start to feel hungry to the point that I couldn't ignore it anymore, I would get up. I would drive to Kroger that was down the street. I would buy I actually buy two 20-ounce Coca-Cola bottles because they were already cold. I'd buy a frozen Stouffer's mac and cheese. I would buy Goldfish and Milano cookies. That was my go-to food, and I would take that home and I would gorge on all of it. I would finish the mac and cheese, I would finish the Goldfish, I would finish the cookies, and then I would just lay in bed and continue to cry throughout the rest of the time watching whatever the hell I was watching on Netflix. And sometimes I would go a whole day without getting up until like 10 p.m. is when I would get up and go to the grocery store and get all this food and eat it, and then fall asleep around 2, 3 in the morning and do it all again. And the thing with being a restaurant server is that I only worked in the evenings, so I had no reason to go to bed early or to get up early, and my circadian rhythm was fucked and all of those things. But oh my God, y'all, that I felt like I was never going to come out of that. And I was literally doing everything to feed the depressive episode to continue on because I was doing nothing to help myself. So flash forward to 2018 and I'm working at a chiropractic office. I'm the heaviest weight I've been. I'm 200 pounds. I'm not hating life, but I am not happy with where I am, and I start working on gaining control of my health. And the first thing I did with that was incorporate exercise. And ever since then, I have been very, very diligent on including exercise in my routine. Even if I'm not exercising every single day, during my depressive episodes recently, I have made sure at least 2 or 3 times a week to do some form of exercise. And the reason being is because I realized that when I was exercising on a daily basis, which, mind you, it took time to get there, but when I was finally at a point where I was exercising every single day, I noticed that my depressive episodes did not come around very often. And when they did come around, they did not last near as long, and they weren't as hard, and it wasn't as difficult to force myself to do these healthy things while going through these depressive episodes. Even recently. So guys, in the last couple of years, I have kind of slacked on routine, and a lot of that is due to school. You know, I'm a recent college graduate, and so going to school and especially finishing a degree is stressful. Oh my God. A lot of y'all know that. This was my first college degree, my associates, and my God, I didn't realize how stressful the last 2 years would be, especially because I was working through most of it too. So I started to slack on exercise, and recently I've gotten back into it. I've gotten into a way better habit and routine of pulling it back in, and I did some self-reflection, and I realized the happiest time of my life was 2019 when I was literally working out 7 days a week. Monday through Saturday, I went to my Camp Gladiator boot camp workouts, HIIT workouts. Sundays, I always did Sunday run day. And then I would incorporate other random exercise on top of all of that. Yoga, I would do, random dance classes, just all kinds of things. So whatever I could do that was exercise, I was always looking to do it. And I truly was the happiest. I was single. I didn't have the best job. I actually had some not great employers at the time, but I was fucking happy. And I really, really think exercise had a lot to do with that. So let's talk about some more of the benefits for exercise in bipolar disorder besides just mood and keeping depression a little bit at bay. Physical health. So something that I learned while researching this is that people with bipolar disorder are at a higher risk for cardiovascular disease, metabolic syndrome, obesity, and then a few other things as well. And I can't say that I'm surprised. Like obesity, I was obese at one point. And so the thing is, what I also know about bipolar disorder is that a lot of us tend to have addictive personalities. And I think that comes with the whole highs and lows, because when you feel good, you feel fucking good. And you know a low is going to come. And I know personally, I have struggled with a ton of different types of addiction back in the day. And I think a lot of it was centered around running from the lows. So I was grasping onto anything that would help me feel good and keep me feeling good. And I don't think that that is a rarity to me. I feel like that is something that does happen quite often for those of us with bipolar disorder. So obesity, oh, absolutely. You know why I had gotten to be so out of shape? It wasn't just because I was eating garbage. It was also because and not exercising, but it was also because I was using food as a source of comfort. That's something I learned to do as a child. And I can do a whole episode on that later, and I think I probably will. But I've recognized that now. Like as a 31-year-old woman, I know that I often use food to comfort, especially now that I don't drink alcohol anymore. I don't use sex to like make myself feel better like I did back in the day. I don't do drugs. And so there's really nothing for me to do except food, and food has always been there. So it's something I've really struggled with, and that's part of why I've gained some weight back. Like what I weighed in 2019 was the best shape of my life, and it was great, and I loved it. And then through all the stress with school, I ended up using food to cope with a lot of the stress, and I had some friendships that fell out, and I used food to cope with those stresses, and it's just a bad cycle that I'm still trying to break. So yeah, for me, that makes total sense that there might be some other risks associated with bipolar disorder that, affect our physical health. And exercise, I mean, I could tell you a million different things, but it's known to improve physical health as well. Besides that, so regular exercise can actually help with sleep regulation and circadian rhythms, which are especially important in bipolar disorder. So something that my therapist used to always ask me, and I used to hate it, I was always so annoyed, was if I was getting enough sleep. And I'm always like, why does that matter? Why does that matter? Who gives a shit? Blah, blah, blah. And for the longest time, I wasn't. I had such a fucked up sleep schedule. And a lot of that was because when I was depressed, I couldn't sleep. And then when I was feeling hypomanic, I also couldn't sleep. So the rare moments back in the day when I was feeling more balanced and leveled out is when I would be able to sleep okay, but that was rare. So for many, many, many years, I struggled with just not getting enough sleep. And now that I have spent the last 6 years working very fucking hard on getting a sleep routine established, I now know what it feels like to not get good sleep, and it fucks up my day, you guys. It severely fucks up my day to where I'm like, how the fuck did I live like this for the majority of my life? Like, whoo, mind blown, because I can't do it anymore. I have to get at least 6.5 hours of sleep. That's what my body personally needs. I don't give a shit, the 8-hour thing. There's research that is not true for everybody. And I'm not going to go in on that right now. But for me personally, I have to get a certain amount of sleep or else I'm just fucked for the entire day. So exercise does help regulate that, because I have noticed on the days that I don't exercise, I have so much harder time falling asleep at nighttime because I haven't gotten all my energy out. Like I am super high energy, and think of like this is a horrible analogy, but I'm going to do it anyways. Think of like a dog, right? If the dog stays inside all day long and doesn't go outside to run around and play, it's going to not want to go to sleep at nighttime. My pug is like that, Duke. He doesn't want to go to sleep. He still has all this energy he hasn't gotten out. So that's the same for me. If I haven't gone out and moved my body for at least 30 minutes and done something to get all this energy out, then at nighttime, it's still there. It's knocking on like my head, like, hey, get out of here. Like, we need to move our body. And so that's something I've recognized. And I told my husband when we go on vacation, I have a hard time falling asleep a lot because we're not exercising on vacation. So this is something that I have truly found to be accurate because of my own personal experiences. And speaking of sleep, y'all, I do have an article called The Bedtime Routine that helps regulate my sleep. I'm going to link it in the show notes because having a bedtime routine is what helps me get into a much better sleep schedule, which has improved my quality of life. So that's a little sidetracked from exercise, but it's in the show notes. I highly recommend that you check it out because bedtime routines are fucking important. My therapist tried telling me that for like 8 years, and it took that long for me to finally come around to it. So don't take 8 years to get on board. Please learn faster than I did. Learn from my mistakes and hop on that train a lot sooner. And then just overall quality of life can definitely improve with exercise. And this is especially useful if you pair exercise with stable routines, a healthy diet, taking your medication daily, all of these things. So, and I found this to be true as well. I really have noticed that, these last couple of weeks, I have done very well on exercising every single day. Definitely have noticed an improvement on my mood and how I feel. And, it's great for my mental health. I am just much more happy and positive when there is exercise in my daily life. So at the same time, you guys, there are some things to watch out for when it comes to exercise. And that is the risk of triggering manic or hypomanic episodes with too much high-intensity exercise or big sudden changes in that. I do have a bit of a story to tell on that. And back in 2019, when I was exercising like crazy, I remember there was a period when I was working out way too much. And I know that I was because, sorry if this is TMI, but I lost my period for 4 whole months. Ladies, when you over-exercise, there's a chance that you can lose your period and it's not good for your body. A lot of female athletes suffer from that because of the over-exertion, and it has repercussions. And that's how I knew I was exercising too much, because I didn't have a period for 4 months. And that was also the time when I stopped having sex. Like, I was literally not having sex with anybody. So I knew for a fact I wasn't pregnant. It was from the exercise. And that was kind of scary. And also at the same time, I had noticed a lot more hypomanic behavior back then. Just feeling a bit too big for my britches, which is a Texas phrase that I love to throw out whenever I can, but meaning that I was just a bit too cocky, a bit too confident, doing some things that were just a bit out of the norm for me. Like, I don't know why. I had this weird little phase during that time when I would wear mismatched clothing to the grocery store on purpose so that people would stare at me. Like, what the fuck? Like, I had a phase of that. And looking back, I can remember one of the crazy outfits I wore one time. I was like, why was I doing that? Like, what the fuck? Like, but I don't know. I was craving the attention or something. I have no idea. But I feel like that was definitely hypomania kicking in. And it was also, again, the time when that was when I was at my absolute thinnest. Like, I literally had athlete level body numbers. My overall body fat at the time was like just under what, like, it was in the threshold of what it is for a female athlete, which I thought was so cool. And I guess that's why I just kept going hard with the exercise. But guys, it wasn't good for my body, clearly. And I don't think it was that great for my mental health as well, because I look back and I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? So let's talk about some practical recommendations, because if you, like me, are in a, like I was, I should say, or in a period where you're just not exercising right now, like you don't have the motivation or it's hard to get into it, Dude, I have been there 5,000 times. So I totally understand. So the thing is, you got to start small. Like, nobody runs a marathon in a day. It's literally a buildup. You are slowly getting there. Something that I always recommend anybody start with when you're starting with exercise is walking. Walking is a fabulous exercise. It takes zero equipment except a pair of tennis shoes. You can do it anywhere. You can do it with your friends, with your dog, with your husband, with your neighbor. You can do it by yourself. Literally, guys, pop in your headphones and listen to this podcast while you go on a walk, or pop in your favorite music or that audiobook you've been meaning to listen to and go for a walk. You can sightsee. If you've moved to a new place, like I recently moved to New York City, walking is one of my favorite things to do here because I find so many things and I see so much and I meet people and it's lovely. It is one of the best things to get started with. It's low intensity, it's very simple, and you can start slow. Maybe do 10 minutes a day and then slowly increase that. Okay, let's do 15 minutes. One lap around your block is 10 minutes, so let's just do one lap every single day for a week. And next week we'll do 2 laps, and the next we'll do 3, and we'll just slowly build up. Do this, guys, and start to actually notice changes as well. I would love for you guys to do that. Take some notes. I wish I would have done that back when I was incorporating exercise, just so I could really see the progression on how things changed, because I know that they've changed, but I know A to B. I don't really know how the things shifted in the middle because I didn't take any notes. I didn't document. I didn't record any of that stuff, and I really wish I would have. Once you get that going, start including other things. Start branching out. Start trying new exercises. Maybe you used to play tennis all the time and you want to get back into it, but you haven't really felt like it. Well, start with walking. Start with walking. I truly love to exercise now. I loved it when I was younger. I think my high energy, like I've said, I just really need to get all of that out. And I've really loved exploring different types of exercise. I'm a runner. I was never a runner while growing up because I have flat feet. And so now that I'm a runner and I love it. But guys, I wasn't a runner in a day. Like, Rome wasn't built in a day, and you won't become a runner in a day. But I found the Couch to 5K app, and I did that, and I ended up working myself up to where I like to run. I have run club I go to here in New York. I go on runs by myself. I go runs with friends. Like, it's something I now truly enjoy. So get the walking going. If you're starting at ground zero, I really think walking is the best place to start, and then start trying to get into other things. Try a Zumba class, yoga. Oh my God, guys, I love yoga. I've now started doing that once a week with either my husband or my new friend Layla. Shout out to Layla. But yoga is super great because it is centering you. It is keeping you present in the moment, which is also amazing for your mental health. And you're stretching your body, which I know most of us do not do enough of. We all sit all day long, and it's really important that we keep our bodies limber and flexible, and yoga is a beautiful way to do that. And again, it's also good for mental health. So that's something worth looking into. There's so many things, guys. Check out what's in your area and see what interests you. Try a new class. That's one of my favorite things to do is I have ClassPass, which if you haven't heard of that, it's basically an app where you can pay a certain amount of money each month, and then you can sign up for classes in all different gyms anywhere. It doesn't just have to be the city you live in. You could be traveling for work and you can take a ClassPass class while you're in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know, some random city. But I love that because I get to try different exercises, which puts me out of my comfort zone. And oftentimes I find new things that I like that I didn't know I liked before because I got to experience something new without committing to a gym. So I am going to put information in the show notes for ClassPass just so that you guys can check that out if you're interested in trying to build up something new without having to commit to a gym membership, because I do know that that is daunting. Monish and I recently just had to find a new gym when we moved here to New York City, and that was a lot. We had to do a lot of research before we committed to anything, and it's a lot of pressure. And if you're just getting into exercise, that can be very overwhelming. And there's also the fear of, well, what if I commit to this and then I don't like it? And now I'm stuck in this stupid contract. And I totally understand all of those aspects. One other thing I do want to just brush on briefly before we wrap up today's episode is for those of you who are getting started with exercising again. I know how hard that can be, and especially if you don't have any kind of routine right now. I actually came up with this program. It's not a program, it's a challenge, I guess I should say. It's a health and wellness program. Why do I keep saying a program? Challenge called 60 Days Stronger. And I came up with this in 2021 where I had lost my routine because I had a very, very stable, just healthy routine going up until 2020 when the pandemic happened, and then it all went to shit. And so in 2021, I decided to come up with something to help me get back into a healthy routine. And I called it 60 Days Stronger because research shows that you need at least 30 to 60 days to establish a new habit or routine. So within 60 Days Stronger, there are 5 components. There is exercise, drinking enough water, eating healthy, gratitude, which I talk about all the time on this podcast that I love, and also personal development, which is essentially just reading a self-help book. So I'm running a live challenge right now, and unfortunately it's a little too late to join, but I came up with a journal. So if you're here on YouTube, I'm flashing it across the screen right now. If you're not on YouTube, don't worry. It's in the show notes and you can find it all there. But I came up with a journal that now I can do this on my own time whenever I want. So like I mentioned, I'm running a live challenge right now, but when that's over with, November and December, there's not going to be a live challenge. So I'm literally going to buy myself another one of my journals, buy my own journal. Sounds crazy, but I need to keep this going because I have not been in a good routine for the last 2 years. This has really, really helped me. So I'm going to link the article where I talk more about the 60 Days Stronger challenge, and it's something that you can easily do with a friend. Right now, I'm showing you guys, this is the current version of the journal I have online, but I am working on a gender neutral version, which is not all pink and girly. So you can do this with a friend. You can do this on your own. You can do this at any time. And this is found on Amazon. It's $10 for the journal. It lasts for 60 whole days. I have all kinds of instructions in there. But if you are getting started and you really don't know how to get a healthy routine going, how to make sure that you're drinking enough water while you're starting a new exercise routine, this is a helpful tool that I have created. So yeah, guys, I could go on and on about exercise and how much I love it and how much it has truly transformed my life, both physically and mentally. But I'm not going to bore you. We don't have all day. I'm trying to keep these episodes around 30 minutes for y'all because I could just talk for hours. I'm sure most of y'all know that by now. But guys, again, to wrap things up, at the end of the day, exercise is truly, truly important and valuable, especially for those of us who have bipolar disorder. I am speaking directly from experience. So start small. Start with a daily 10-minute walk. Start with something that is doable, something that you know you can easily accomplish. And set a goal. Set a small goal to do it every single day for 1 week. And once you hit that goal and you've done, let's say, a 10-minute walk every day for 1 week, increase that goal for the next week and keep going and keep going. And please, for your own sake, for my sake, take note. Write down how you're noticing that your mood is improving every single day. Journal about it. Maybe not every day, maybe every few days, whatever, but keep track of these things. And personally, I would love it if you're in a spot where you're getting back into an exercise routine and you take note of things and you don't mind sharing. I would love to hear from you. I truly would. You can head over to whatishaybellsdoing.com and submit a form on the contact page. You can tell me there. You can DM me on Instagram. You can DM me on Facebook on the Distress to Joyful Bailey's Way page. Guys, I really would love to hear how it improves for you. So even if you come back 6 months later and message me about it, like, dude, that's great. Like, tell me about the 6 months. Tell me what happened for you. Tell me how exercise truly changed your life, because it changed mine, and I know for a fact that it can change yours. So thanks again for tuning into the show. And until next time, y'all, take it easy, stay grateful, and be joyful. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Distress to Joyful Bailey's Way. Head on over to whatisheybellsdoing.com to find the resources mentioned throughout this episode. Be sure to follow the show on Instagram at Distress2Joyful_Bailey's Way and on Facebook at Distress2Joyful Bailey's Way. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating on your favorite podcast listening platform or write a review on Audible or Apple Podcasts. Lastly, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with new episode releases. Until next time, take it easy, stay grateful, and be joyful. Bye!